Hello humans! Today I wanted to try out something and I'm going to talk about 3 knives at 5 price points that I really think are good, neat, interesting, or you should just be aware of. So these are generally speaking the 5 categories that I personally like to define knives into. Ultra budget, which is under 20 Canadian dollars. These are knives that I'd be comfortable picking up at a location if I'm like traveling. And I'm traveling with just a carry-on, and for whatever reason I decide I'm not going to do a disposable blade. These are knives that I would pick up at location and drop off on my way to the airport, never to be seen again. These are knives that I am perfectly comfortable getting rid of. On the flip side, they're a really good place to start your collection. And it's not an ultra-competitive space, but there is still some gems out there. So, first thing first, the Maxim fixed blade trade knife. Very boring name. Not very many details. It has a stainless steel of some description. But you know what? For having a plastic handle, it's fairly comfortable. It held its edge significantly better than I expect it to. Very easy to resharpen in the unlikely event that you're resharpening it. It's thin, it's slicey. The sheath is completely ambidextrous. It'll click in either direction. And it's an easy enough sheath to use. It slips over a belt easily. You can even clip it to the inside of a pocket if your pockets are big enough for something like this. For $16, this is a very approachable option. Canadian Tire, find them there. You know, it's nice, it's simple, it's a Mora clone, but it's a fairly okay Mora clone, all things considered. Next in this category, this one here is a bit of a tougher one to find all over the place, but it's a really nice little knife. This is a rybička. Little tiny traditional knife out of the former Soviet Union. I want to say Czechoslovakian, but it could be Ukrainian. But the point is these are small mushroom picking knives, often given to children as their first knives here in Canada. You can get them from Lee Valley Tools for, I think it was like 11 bucks. 420 HC steel blade, fish-shaped body. You can put a ring on it, attach it to your keys. I find it a little bit big for the keys, but honestly, you can get a comfortable 3-fingered grip. For a non-locking knife, it's a nice little guy, and it works out quite well, in my opinion. I find it comfortable to use. It's meaty enough, it fits well in the hand, and it did come sharp. So you know what? For 10-ish bucks, it's difficult to beat something like this, and it's an interesting piece for a collection. If you're starting off your collection on a budget, it's shaped like a fish, and it's fairly well made and shaped like a fish, which, you know, that's kind of cool. You don't see stuff like that all the time. So yeah, I forget the company. Mikov rybička. Super cool little knife. And then finally, if you follow my channel at all, you knew this was going to come up. The Buck 311. Freaking love this thing for under 20 bucks. Regularly, Canadian Tire, I've seen them as low, like around Christmas, I see these things for $9.99. 420 J2, which is not the most premium steel, but you know what? It is well heat treated. It's easy to touch up. The handles are injection molded, but they're comfortable. Under 3 inches of blade length. Very fidgety with that thumb hole deployment. Which I really appreciate. And the other thing that I really appreciate is a very well done inset liner lock. So this is a knife that is comfortable to use, easy to sharpen, very appealing for starting off a collection. I've handed off lots and lots of these to cousins and friends who just need a knife to carry on them every day. You know, they're in a job for the first time where they have to cut open boxes all the time. I hand these things out like freaking candy. They are amazing. Starting off a collection, something like this, very approachable, very, very good, in my opinion. So yeah, for under 20 bucks, these are 3 great knives, 3 great options. It's not a hugely competitive space. Like I said, you're often sacrificing quite a bit. Like I said, 420 J2, unknown stainless, plastic handles. The rybička is a bit of a shining gem, but you don't get a locking system with it, which definitely comes in as a negative. But you know what? These are all great options in this price range. For our next price range, we have under 100 Canadian dollars. So this is kind of just generally speaking, you know, 20 to about 100 Canadian dollars. And opening up in this space, I think we need a good Victoianox. There are plenty under 100 Canadian dollars. There are some that are over, for sure, but there are plenty under 100 Canadian dollars. This is the one that I am currently carrying the most, pretty well every day. This is the, and it's all gross and grimy. This is the Hiker. So this is the Victoianox Hiker. Rosewood, or whatever their True Sharp is, the other one. True Sharp, I believe, is case. I actually don't remember what they call their stainless steel, but it's okay. It's very simple. It's not difficult to sharpen up. The reason I really like the Hiker and comes down to this really amazing saw. This is one of the best designed multi-tool saws in the world, in my opinion. I like the wooden handle scales. They're a little bit easier to grab onto. They have a little bit more personality to them. They patina with you over time, which I really like. You don't get, unfortunately, the toothpick and tweezers, which is a bit of a drawback. I definitely would like those. But you know what? This is probably, in my day-to-day life, this is the best meld of tools that you can get. And, of course, the 3D Phillips. Really, really good screwdriver. Really useful screwdriver head. So, get yourself a good Victoianox. If you're in the market for a knife under $100, good Victoianox will get you through pretty much everything on a day-to-day basis. You can hand it to people as it's not intimidating. If you hand it to somebody in a store to open something, they're not going to freak out. It's not scary. It's easy to maintain. You get 2 blades on most models. You know, like, there's lots of options, but they're typically under $100. They're really, really good. So get yourself a Victoianox. Next one is this guy right here. So this is the Kizer Smolt. There's a couple different versions. This one here in 14C28N comes in just under 100 Canadian bucks from House of Knives. There's a D2 version and an AEBL version that are also both under 100 bucks, and then there's a 3V version that is slightly over 100 bucks. This is not the stock hardware that comes with it. I did pick up hardware so I could wear it in the pocket, but the hardware that it comes with originally is really, really good. It's small, but it is hard use. It is thicker behind the edge than you might expect, but if you're out doing wood carving or anything out sort of bushcrafty, and you still want it to be EDCable, like this fits very easily in a pocket, but you can throw it at those harder tasks. You can throw it at dismantling pallets if that's something you do at work. This is a knife that will chew up all of those harder tasks. Very comfortable, simple handle, but with the G10 inlay, or not G10, with the micarta inlay over G10, it does not slip from the hand. It fits very nicely and comfortably. Sheath, thermomolded plastic. I think it is technically Kydex, but I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, I just put a random pocket clip on it to keep the sheath in my pocket because I found that to be the most comfortable. But honestly, really, really good EDCable fixed blade knife. So yeah, Kizer Smolt, definitely worth picking up at under 100 bucks. And then thirdly, my goodness, I think this is probably my favorite sub-$100 knife for just general everybody. This is the Buck 722. They call it the Spitfire. I just go off their model numbers. It's the Buck 722. I like the version with the hole. There is a version with a nail nick instead. Lock back, roughly a 3-inch blade, aluminum handles. There's a couple different versions of the colors in the aluminum handles. 420 HC blade, not the most premium blade. You can get better, actually, even this 14C20N is a significantly better blade in this price range. But what you are trading, you are getting a really good edge hold and heat treatment on this knife. Saber height, hollow grind. With a swedge at the back, this thing punctures into things excellently. It's surprisingly good at slicing for what it is. Lockback is extremely tough. Despite the aluminum, there's enough jimping and texturing. This is not a knife that I find moves around in my hands at all, at all, at all. Easy to manipulate, sticks far enough out of the pocket that I find it easy to grab even with gloves on. So if I'm wearing my welding gloves at work, I can easily grab, pull out this knife, make a quick cut if something needs to be cut, strap, whatever. Which is super duper handy. The biggest drawback with this one here is definitely that 420 HC blade steel, but you can get them with S35VN from the Buck website on their custom shop. It does cost more than $100 at that point, but for under 100 bucks, honestly, this is probably in my opinion, at least, one of the top contenders in this space. It's really, really good knife. And I mean, it's not super fidgetable. Oh, it's been a while. I don't carry a lockback every day, but you can get it when you are carrying it regularly. This is a knife that you can get easily flicking open off that reverse finger flick, or slow roll it with the thumb. Even with gloves on, slow rolling it with the thumb is absolutely not a problem. Yeah, super, super good knife. Heavily recommend it if you are looking for an everyday knife under $100. You're hard to go with anything else. Civivi's got a few good options, but this is really, really good. So up next, we have $100 to about $225. So this is what I consider to be sort of normal. This is above the budget category, which is where I put the under 100, but this is what I would consider to be just sort of normal, median price for knives. And this is a extremely competitive space. Lots and lots of very excellent stuff exists in this space, and it's a huge, huge spread between the tops and the bottoms. So be warned, these are three very different knives. First up, this is the Flytanium Arcade in S35 VN. Truly excellent knife, aluminum scales, swappable inserts. So this is an aftermarket insert that I got. It came with this, I think it's really ugly, yellow color insert. I got this wavy pattern brass. This thing's big party trick, though, is the shark lock. Truly excellent lock. Extremely fidget friendly, extremely, extremely tough. Very hard to break. Drop point blade, like I said, S35 VN blade steel, which is a stainless, super good blade steel. If it's difficult to see something like this and need more in your life, genuinely. It's a truly excellent knife. Does everything you need. Really, really worth looking into. Next, we have the Kizer Suez. And this is one of my absolute favorite fixed blades out there. Oh, it's all dirty. Big, slightly upswept clip point blade. Jimping. Back here, this little swedge section, or not swedge, fullard section. I really like a fuller. Aesthetically, I think it looks really cool. You have this swedge section out towards the tip, which definitely does increase its puncturing power. It's still fairly thick. I found this to be a very robust knife. It's in D2 blade steel. G10 handles, front lanyard, back lanyard. I don't use either, but you can get right behind the blade with this finger choil for like that fine detail work if you're woodworking, making traps, that kind of thing. And a more comfortable grip back here if you're using this in more of a defensive situation, so to speak. The other thing that I really like about it is the sheath. Truly excellent taco-style sheath with these leathered straps. So it's set up for scout-style carry on the back, which is how I like to carry it. But you can put a little bit of strop compound on these, and they actually make really nice little field strops. They're definitely small, don't get me wrong, but they're not difficult to use as field strops, which I do appreciate. Very good retention on the Kydex, and it's nicely opened towards the opening. You can see how big it is, which makes it really easy to insert and remove the knife, which I really appreciate. This is a great knife. This is, I think, my favorite sub $200 fixed blade by a wide margin. Like I said, I consider this category to be up to $225, and there is a lot of really good fixed blades, but this is just so nice, so well done. Truly an excellent option. Very easy to carry. The sheath is very minimal. It fits nicely in the small of the back. You can put your shirt over it. Excellent, excellent knife. And in my opinion, the top spot for this category, so $100 to about $225, is this right here. This is the Kizer Brat. 154 cm, not the most premium steel, but definitely one of my favorite steels. Very even composition. But this thing's big party trick is right back here. This is a G10 integral, so the entire handle is milled from a single piece. There's some advantages to cleaning and strength, but the biggest advantage, in my opinion, is it is very, very comfortable. There's no seam back here. There's no movement, absolutely nothing for it to move or pinch or do anything awkward. Even with a fairly enclosed knife like the Arcade, you still do have some slightly sharp edges back here that the back of your hand can get into. The Brat has none of that. Super comfortable, drop point blade, big belly out towards the tip and a flat section going into it, which I love. My favorite locking mechanism personally, which is the button lock. There are other locking mechanisms that are stronger, better, tougher, whatever. I don't care. I love a button lock. And the best acoustics I've ever heard out of a folding knife, genuinely. So the Kizer Brat, special place in my heart. Phenomenal knife. And they're not that I think they're about 150 Canadian dollars. So truly an excellent knife. I mean, obviously you will be more than happy with any of these three, but in this sort of normal knife range, these are three knives that are 100% worth checking out. Up next, we start getting into the upgraded knives. These are knives that go from about 225 to about 350 Canadian dollars. They are nice. They are well made. You're starting to get into premium materials fairly often. You start getting into handmade knives at this price point. Really excellent stuff. First up, we have the Cold Steel Engage. This is a knife in S35VN blade steel. Not super big, made in Taiwan. It has their Atlas lock, which is a really excellent take on the sort of sliding back locks that you can get out there. Very thin, very easy to manipulate, really fidget friendly. Like, this is a knife that there's a lot of different ways to play with. It's super fun to play with. It flicks open really well. It's comfortable in the hand. It does a lot of cutting, like a lot of cutting. Really a nice utilitarian approach to this territory. If you need one knife to last you the rest of your life with no concessions, this is it, genuinely. It's really good. It does what it says on the tin. Cold Steel Engage. Up next, we have this guy right here. So this is the Grohmann No. 6 large rust lock with this stabilized red wine accent finish. They have a fancy name for it. Really cool knife. It comes with a pocket sheath. This it's a drop point, but it's a Canadian belt knife style blade. Really popular blade style for hunting. Really approachable for hunting. It slices exceptionally well, but you still have extremely good access to that tip. Despite how big and blocky this handle looks, and don't get me wrong, this looks big and blocky, it's really comfortable once you have it in hand. Really good slicing knife. The blade steel does leave a little bit to be desired. I believe it's a OS 10 equivalent, but what you're exchanging for the blade steel is very premium fit and finish handmade knives made in Nova Scotia, Canada, which is just cool to say. Really truly excellent, very smooth action, very comfortable to use. I cannot rate this highly enough. This is a very good upgraded knife. And finally in this space, this is the Moki Burden Trout 2.0. There's a few different versions of this knife. They range in price, but I believe they're all over $225. Excellent. Not the most premium blade steel. Again, OS 8, not the most premium stuff. But what you are getting in exchange for that is really good fit and finish, exceptional fit and finish. Very nice finish. Like, the edge finishing is amazing. The heat treatment on this, as far as I can tell, is absolutely phenomenal. It's comfortable in the hand. It's very slim. It's very premium feeling. This is actually a knife that I will take if I'm going out to a steakhouse or something like that, because quite frankly, steakhouses do not ever have sharp steak knives. Something like this does not look out of place. You can use it to cut your food. You can use it in these premium environments without anybody questioning it. The sheath looks incredible as well. Very well finished, well made. Absolutely love this knife. If you're in the market for a gentlemanly fixed blade to EDC, you'd be hard-pressed to find something, at least in the production space, that outclasses this. Phenomenal attention to detail in the handle, absolutely beautiful. The jimping, despite the fact that it looks like you slip onto the blade very easily, this jimping is really well done. It's not painful or sharp, but it holds your hand in place extremely well. So, highly rate the Moki Burden Trout 2.0. Now, finally, into our last category. So this is above 350 Canadian dollars. It's a very wide range, don't get me wrong, but there's some exceptional stuff in this space. And I only have fixed blades in this space. I actually don't have any folding knives. I prefer fixed blades personally, but we get into some really great stuff around here. So, up first, this is the Buck 108. It barely fits. It's a big old chopping fro. Despite a lot of the expense here is going to utility, it's a massive chunk of 5160 spring steel. You can see I do most of my firewood chopping with this knife now, just because I love using it so much. But it's a big hunking knife. Frost Brothers heat treatment. I can't complain about the heat treatment. You get right behind the edge. You can actually do a lot of fine detail work with this. And you have this big sculpted handle with this stop on it, which just for heavy chopping, incomparable. There's nothing that has beaten this knife for me for heavy chopping. As you can see, it gets bigger out towards the tip. It just chops nice and heavy. Flat grind out. Not a very tall flat grind, but a well done flat grind. And the final edge is absolutely sharp for that fine detail work. But this is a brute of a knife. This is what you get in this premium space for pure utility. This is how you spend pure utility in the premium space. It's not going to fit, but it's going to go over here. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we have this guy right here. This is a Hatt custom knife. I don't actually believe that this model has a name, but it's a Hatt custom knife. Very exceptionally hand-finished, small blade, hollow grind, which you don't see all the time, but exceptionally well done hollow grind. Very premium feeling. A little bit of a ricasso up here, and the file work in the spine is just absolutely beautiful. You can see it right there. Very comfortable in the hand. You get a full grip despite the very small size. And in this thing, just you put it into a cut and it is a dream. As you can see, mirror polish finish on the actual grind section, whereas the flat has this sort of hand satin finish. I love this knife. This cost me exactly $350. But beautiful knife. Very comfortable. Slices like a dream. The sheath is fairly big, utilitarian. It feels kind of like a box that you put it in. But it goes in there wonderfully. It fits most belts very well. And the handle, look at the handle with the wood and this sort of blue stabilizing material that he used. Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, no. Hatt custom knife, little companion, whatever the hell he calls this. Wow, this is amazing. Cannot recommend it highly enough. I absolutely love this thing. And then, for a final spot in the premium knife category, this is the Kievit Custom that I own. So I bought this secondhand. This is actually the only secondhand knife in the entire collection. I have spoken to Kievit a couple times. I've actually met him in person now. Phenomenal guy, really nice. He has a tattoo of this knife, which is kind of cool. But this is a very premium knife that he's made a while ago. I got it, like I said, secondhand for, again, $350, which is the bottom limit of this category. But I could resell it tomorrow for significantly more than I paid for it. India stag handles, beautifully done, brass bolsters, upswept point, trailing point. This thumb ramp, it's just everything about this knife is exceptionally beautifully well done. Yeah, I love this knife. I use this when I'm cooking primarily. But it's just wow. Wow. I want to clean it in the middle of this, which microfiber cloth. Yeah, no, this is a beautiful, absolutely gorgeous knife. I believe it's AEBL steel. I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't quite remember our conversation about it. But I do believe it's AEBL steel. India stag handles, brass bolsters, just such an amazing knife. So yeah, that's 3 knives in 5 different price categories. I love all of these knives extremely, very much. Stay safe and have fun out there. Peace.